A weekend with no rain and no call. It's been a little bit of a problem getting to be able to bush hog around the property. It seems as though whatever weekends I've been off, we've had some sporadic rain. That makes it a little bit difficult to get the tractor down some of the steeper hills and into the valley areas, as well as some of the fields that have significant slopes to them. Seems like in July and August we've had a little bit more rain than what we have had in the past, or it's just been that it's been raining only when I was not on call. When we started going through the west field, there's a little bit of a path from the side-by-side, but it was time to go ahead and make a path through the weeds to get down towards the creek field. The next day you can see that it was a lot easier getting down that same path after the bush hog had made two passes along this way. It was a lot nicer making the trek down towards the south part of the property without seeds and brush flying all over the place. A couple months ago, Matt was able to get out on one of the weekends that I was on call and bush hog the creek field, which was getting pretty bad as far as thistles and weeds that were starting to choke off the clover and what was left of the chicory that we had planted a few years ago. Within a month, the faster growing grasses and a lot of the weeds were starting to overshadow the clover, and its growth was starting to be stunted. So it seems like a good time to go ahead and mow things down again before we overseed and no-till sow some of the turnips and other brassicas. I suspect that this will be the last mowing that we'll have to do on this field, and hopefully this will be enough to suppress the weeds and give some of the brassica and turnips a better chance to germinate and grow a little bit over the next couple months. Sunday we made a rundown through the Ranger XP so that we could switch out discs in the camera as well as batteries and run over a few of the areas dragging some of the major clumps of sodded glass so that it would be a better field for broadcasting the turnip seed. The biggest chore on Saturday was to bush hog the platform blind food plot field, which was a significant endeavor since we had not been able to touch this the entire year so far. The grass was getting fairly high and it was almost obscuring any deer that you could see within camera range of our trail cameras. Notice the one doe is easy to see, however, the second doe in the center and to the left is only seen towards the end of this clip. We decided to get rid of that visibility problem of this tall grass and actually give the clover, which is doing fair, a better shot at further growth since it won't be shaded out by the grass. We're doing that courtesy of Kubota and the King Cutter rotary cutter, which is a little bit undersized for this tractor, but it was a fairly good size when I was using the old 8N to do the bush hogging. Rather than upscaling to a much larger cutter to fit the tractor, I decided to continue with the King Cutter since it's been fairly reliable. You may have noticed the temperature reading that is listed on the trail camera data. As the day went on, it continued to get hot, and the reading was 105 with the sun beating down. I suppose that when I hit the lottery one of these days, I'll be able to upscale the tractor to a cab model with air conditioning and get rid of that King Cutter bush hog and go with one of those giant bat wings so that I can get this done in a lot less time. With as high as the grass was, as well as how thick it was, it took a lot longer to get this 2 acres taken care of. I'm glad that this is going to probably be the only mowing for this year. And next year, we're going to make some changes and get at least the first cutting done by the middle part of June or 1st of July, so that the second cutting, or possibly third, won't be as bad. Looking north, you can see a considerable difference from before we did the cut, and you can see the base of the platform blind. Looking south, there is even more of a difference, and it's a nice clear path to the power lines. Even with all the activity during the afternoon, deer movement continued into the evening, and it was relatively unfazed. I do suspect that this doe was wondering where the grass went. The next step is to rake up some of the excess thatch and the excessive cuttings to make a little bit better seed bed for broadcasting the turnip seed.